The most confusing part of all this is why people haven't spoke up earlier. Like, I know it's difficult because I don't like to do it, to be quite honest with you. But at a certain point, we got to speak up. Children and girls should not be competing against boys in elementary, high school, middle school. When you get to 18 and above, it's not fair. The fact that kids are suing states because they are having to compete with a man who's beating them because it's not fair is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. It is the softest act we could possibly do. In competition, when it is fair, it is beautiful. This is not fair at all. And it's dangerous. And we're starting to speak up, but people are getting upset with us. If this little girl can speak up, I'll be speaking up too. Listen to her. At least give her 5 minutes of your time.
Yes, says it's not fair.
No, it's not.
She is a track and field athlete who used to be the fastest girl in high school in Connecticut. But then she started losing to biological boys who identified as girls and competed against her. She's Chelsea Mitchell. She is suing the state of Connecticut for forcing her to compete against them. Chelsea and her lawyer, Christiana Kiefer, joining me now. Ladies, thank you for coming on. Chelsea, you're in college now. I'm assuming you still run. Why are you suing now about what happened?
That's a child. I mean, she's older now, but this was a year ago. That was a child. That was a senior in high school. Her senior year, she had to worry about this and get judged because all she wants to do is compete fairly.
And back then in high school?
Well, I actually sued my senior year of high school, and that was because all 4 years of my high school experience, I raced against these two biological males who ended up taking 4 state championships, 2 All New England awards, and countless other opportunities for myself to advance. And it's not fair to force people to participate against biological males, and so that's why I ended up suing.
So what do you want from this? Do you want the record restored to reflect?
She can't get back all those moments. She can't get them back.
Right. I mean, it's not fair that these biological males took these titles from myself and other girls, and so the record should reflect that. But also, we want the policy reversed so that no other female in Connecticut has to go through the same thing that I went through.
Yeah. Christiana, let me bring you in here. How do you win this case? Because it looks like Connecticut is giving it another look. More than 20 states across the USA have banned trans athletes from competing. How do you win?
20?
That's exactly right. It's so important that our laws and policies, not just in Connecticut, but across the United States as well, reflect biological reality. And that's the whole reason Title IX was passed nearly 50 years ago, was to ensure that girls like Chelsea and like the young women who are now protected in the state of Alabama can compete on a fair and level playing field and not be forced to race against males who have inherent physical advantages over them. So it's been really encouraging to see more than 21 states now protecting women's sports across our country. And we just want to see that momentum continue.
Beautiful. Chelsea, how has the reaction to your lawsuit changed from when you first filed it in high school and now a few years later? Did people say, "Hey, that's me" in the beginning, and now maybe they're thinking, "Oh, okay,
that's not fair to her. It's not fair to her."
Has any reactions changed over the past couple of years?
I'm with you.
Yeah, initially when we filed this lawsuit, there was a lot of silence support, a lot of whispered support. But now there's been a ton of girls that have been speaking out with us. With all the legislation, I think it's just made it so much easier for women to stand up for themselves, and I'm glad that our case was able to do that for them.
Christiana, should trans athletes get their own category? The pushback you typically get is, well, there's not enough numbers to actually
get out of girls' sports.
I think there's a lot of different ways that we could find a good solution here. But what we can't do is compromise the female category. We have women's sports as a separate category for a reason. Males have anywhere from a 10 to 50% performance advantage. And it's so unfair to force girls like Chelsea and other young women across the country to compete against male athletes.
Yeah, Chelsea, I have young children. And for instance, my son is 5. On his T-ball team, you have boys and girls. Nobody cares. They're all playing at basically the same level. But as you move on in your sport And as your parents dedicate their money and their time, taking you 5 days a week, all year round, and you work so hard to be the best that you can to get that scholarship.
It's not right.
And it's ripped away from you because you're competing against someone that's biologically bigger and stronger than you. How does that make you feel?
Tell me.
Yeah, I mean, in competitive sports, we need these sex separated categories so that women still have the opportunity to win. You know, I mean, I worked years to get to that state championship, to be on the line to win that race, and to have that kind of taken from you is really just frustrating and disheartening, especially because you know the person next to you has a huge physical advantage.
I was reading, Chelsea, that you were the fastest in the 55-meter dash in the state of Connecticut. How much faster did the boys run?
About 0.3 of a second.
That's a mile in
run.
run.
May not seem like a lot.
It's a mile.
But in track and field, that's a huge margin, about probably 10 meters ahead of us.
Wow. Chelsea, Christiana, thank you for giving us the time and sharing your story.
Thanks for having us.
Well, WikiLeaks founder Julian
Shh. We gotta get the girls and the boys separate in sports. Okay, lady, I don't know what you're talking about, but that's what I'm talking about. It's not fair. Okay, we gotta stop being silly about this and just move on and just figure something else out. For real. That little girl didn't have to go through all that. That wasn't fair. She probably had wind of it. It was coming. That was probably her junior year of high school. That's annoying. Then her senior year gets crushed by what happened. I mean, come on. That's not fair to her. That's not fair to any girl in America. What are we doing? What? Skill. All that. Listen to the people we vote for, right? Listen to what they say in the meetings, not when they're on the TV, but in the meetings, judiciary oversight. Listen to them, listen to the kids, right? Go research it, make sure it's all real, and then decide. Because I'm guessing a lot of people, when they see the little kid talking up, maybe everybody will get up. Let's go.